So let me take this opportunity. I take you through management accounting, a unit under the intermediate level. So today we are doing our first topic of the semester, that is cost estimation. And these are one of the topics which are basically tested in your exams, as you can see from your previous session sittings. So in this case, we just want to know what is the cost, because I know very well some of us can be able to differentiate what is our cost and how do we normally estimate those costs. So basically, this is the thing that we have already done, but we have never done any calculation on it. So this means that the cost estimation is just a method of predicting the future costs for the budgeting purposes. So that is what we need to understand this. And we need to know that the following methods are used for predicting future costs. So what are these costs that we are talking about? So some of these costs which we are discussing of, one, it is a high-low method. Number two, we normally talk about one of the concepts which is mostly used by the examiners. It is normally called the least square method. Number three, or we normally call it linear regression method. Then number three, we normally discuss about the account analysis method. Then number four, we normally discuss about the industrial engineering method. So when you look on your past papers, the most tested methods of cost estimation, they are the first three. They are the most tested, right? The first three are highly tested. So let us start by elaborating the first topic. We are discussing about high-low method, right? What does it mean? As we look on our notes, we said it is a method of cost estimation. Where two data values are used. Two data values are used to form a linear what? It's normally used to form a linear function. And we need to understand that our linear functions is always in form of y is equals to a plus bx, right? So what is all this? We say where my y is equals to, we normally talk about the total cost. But when we advance a bit, it will not be the total cost. When you advance up there, it will be called dependent variable. If we will choose to do advanced management accounting, our y will be dependent variable. And why am I introducing you at this level? Is because that sometimes an examiner might be giving you an information, and the information in which that examiner is giving, the data for y is not defined. That is the reason as to why I'm telling you, when you look on the data provided by the examiner, you should be differentiating and knowing which one is dependent and which one is independent variable. Now, what is our A? We say our A, the total fixed cost, sorry. That is our total fixed cost. We have our B, which is the variable cost per unit. It is the variable cost per unit, right? Then we have our X. This one is normally called the the number of units produced. Sometimes it might not be the units, right? The number of units produced, or looking on the data which you are being provided by the examiner, our X might be someone, it might be our independent variable. It might be our independent variable. That is why and how you normally differentiate the two. Now, from that concept, I think that the only thing that I can be able to give you, because you have the advantages and disadvantages for the high-low method, I just need to tell you one thing, that X values, the X values should correspond, the X values should be corresponding to Y values. What am I saying? When we identify, because you remember we have said, when we are forming our linear equation, right, we normally take the highest and the lowest points from the data which are being provided by the examiner, right? What am I talking about this? This it means that we are going to be taking only two data values, but which corresponds to X values. So it means my X is the one that is going to be guiding me on how I'm supposed to be selecting the Y variable, Let us go to number 2, right? I will be able to explain it much when I'm doing an illustration. Number 2, we are discussing about a method which they are calling it nowadays least square method. Least square method. Sometimes we are calling it linear regression methods. Linear regression method. And looking at the definition which I was able to give you, I said, this is a method of cost estimation. These are methods of cost estimation. It's a method of cost estimation where all the data values are used to form, a linear equation. But in this case, you can be able to tell me, Mwalimu, when I'm using the least square, right, to form my y is equals to a plus bx, let me just write here, y is equals to a plus bx, right? Because that is the form of the formulas that we shall be able to form. Then you can be able to tell me that we normally use formulas, right? The formulas to get what? But I forgot to talk about it here. These two are basically called constants. When you are going up there, these two are called constants. They are basically called constants, right? And that is why the constants are mostly elaborated when you are looking to the linear equation, linear regression equation, because they normally have formulas to determine them. For example, to get our b, to get my b, I normally take n the summation of xy minus summation of x, summation of y. We divide it by n the summation of x squared minus the summation of x, but you put in brackets squared. Then it means when you're calculating the least square, right, the first thing that you are supposed to be computing is your b. When you are doing the least square method, the first thing that you are supposed to be calculating should be your b. Now, to calculate your a, we normally say, getting your a, you're supposed just to be taking the summation of y minus b, the summation of x. Then you divide it by n. You can see how it is important to first get your b, because it is a requirement when you're calculating your a. I think we are together to that point. And if you are writing or elaborating your points, you are doing it with ease. Now, as we continue, you will be able to look on the, because sometimes an examiner might be asking you, can you be able to give between the two, which is the most, we can discuss about which is the most reliable data, which you can be able to use in making decision. And in this case, we can see that the least square method, basically it uses all the data values as per the advantages which I gave. It normally uses all the data values, and therefore the equation which we are going to be formulating using the least square method is going to be more accurate compared when you are just taking two values and ignoring the other. Those are the disadvantages you can be able to check on under the high-low method. I think I was able to give that. So before I conclude by looking on the third one, the most important and where we are going to be spending most of our day is knowing how can we be able to sort out our problems using the high-low method, sorting our challenges using the least square method. Later on, I will be able to see how can I be able to get out a problem or solutions when we are using the account analysis, and then I will also be giving out a definition and elaborating about it further before we conclude by giving out explanation of the industrial engineering method. So I just want to go to our past papers, and we are going to be starting with a question which was tested here. Let me check where the question was tested. The question was tested on 2022 here. I think I was able to share the link in our WhatsApp group.
I have not received it.
So look on your WhatsApp group, and we are going to be getting a link there for our question. See, today we are doing management accounting. So you just click the management accounting paper, right? Let's see whether I was able to share the paper, correct? So you click it, then look on the question. It should be question, the last one. It should be the last question here. Correct. It should be question 5C. You can see question 5C. Highlight 6 benefits that a firm could derive from establishing a good cost accounting system. I will be able to share that. Someone to remind me. So part C of the December 2022, I request someone to read, and I have said Joy should read for us. Go on.
Should I start?
Yes.
Ocean Limited is preparing its budget for the year ending 30th June 2023. It is decided to estimate an equation of the form y is equals to a plus bx, where y is a total maintenance expense at an activity level x, a is the fixed maintenance expense. The following information relates to the year ending 30th June 2023. So we have months: September, October, November, December, machine hours, maintenance costs, the months, machine hours, and maintenance cost. So we're required to estimate the total cost function using the ordinary least squares method. Number 2, determine the total cost if 1050 machine hours were applied.
Thank you so much. Good. Now, the Ocean Limited is preparing the budget, and you can see we are just be giving two scenarios here. And our examiner was favorable because he was able to say our Y is the total maintenance expense at an activity level of X. Correct. So already we know our machine hours is our X and maintenance cost is our Y. So already examiner has already defined the two. And we say the following information related to the year ending 30 June 2023 required: estimate the total cost function using the ordinary least square method. Number 2, determine the total cost if 1050 machine hours were applied. And you can see we are being provided with 10 marks. Now, in this case, let me just go back to the board. I know that you have already opened the question. I just want you to open the area which you are writing, take your calculator, and then you just vote for the solution. So in this case, we are saying that first we have to identify our variables, and we have already identified our X and Y, correct? That is the first thing that we have to do. So I need just to be copying this data provided down here. So let me just take my data. So I can see for the, because I don't need to write here machine and also the maintenance cost. Already I need to identify my X and Y. They are going to be assisting me to get the solutions. So for September, I have 400. I can see here, we have 960,000. Correct. We have 240. Here we have 880,000. You just need to copy the whole of it. The other one is 80. This should be 280,000. Right? We also have 400. This is 1.2 million. Correct? Then we have 320. 320. The other one we have 800,000. 800,000. Then here we have 240. Here we have around 640,000. Good. I know you are copying with me. The other one is 160. This is 560,000. 560,000. Here we have 480. And then the other one we have 1,350,000. 1,350,000. We have 320. Here we have 660,000. Then we have the last one is 160. And here we are given 440,000. My advice, which I will be able to give to you, regardless of how the examiner will be able to limit all this, I just need you to be copying the whole of it. Now, I want to start with our first method of the night. Number one, we were discussing about ILO method. Well, it is not part of the question, but we just need to know how we are supposed to be doing it. So our y should be equal to a plus bx. A is equals to a plus bx. And in this case, we say, one of the correspondents we said, NB, x value should be corresponding. X value should correspond to y values. Right? X value should be corresponding to y values. And in this case, I say, you just need to be identifying the highest and the lowest points from your x. Don't even mind about y. Why? Because any letter which is corresponding is the one which is matching like this one. You see like this? This is what we are talking about, corresponding to each other. So I just need to look on the highest value here, and I'll be able to identify is around 480. Right? This one is my highest. So I just need to indicate there, that is my highest. I mean, here you cannot be able to see. So let me just indicate here, this is my highest, correct? That is my highest point. And then the least one I can see is this one. I don't even want to see on your side of y. This is my least value, so lowest. Lowest. So in this case, the highest values, I just going to be picking them because I told you, in any equation which we just need to formulate, these constants of yours, they are the one which you are looking for. So in this case, I just want to equate them. So I will take 1,350,000, which should be equal to my A, which I don't have and I don't know, but I know my X here. On my X, I add 480B. That becomes my first equation. Then the second equation will be the least for y is 280,000. We should be equal to A plus the least values for on the other side should be 80B. What am I going to be doing here? Under the cost estimation, you can use different methods, right? You can use substitution, elimination, all types of the methods which you want to use. But in this case, I will just be able to teach one. Can we be able to use the elimination? The elimination is subtracting and removing one of the unknowns. We solve one unknown, and then we shall come back and solve, substitute for the rest. So in this case, when I substitute A goes, right? What remains is 400B. 400B. We should equal to 1350 minus 280 is how much? 1350 for the student who is following. 1350 minus 280 should be how much? I should be getting around 1070. Thank you. 1070,000. Let me get B. So I just say 1070,000 should be equal to 400B. Divide here by 400. Divide here by 400. Right? So what is my B? My B should be 1070, right? 1070,000 divided by 400. My B should be around 2675. That should be my B. You can see I'm not struggling to get it. Then to get my A, I just say, let me substitute. Substituting for A. Correct? And I substitute for A. Am I going to be substituting for A? I will just be able to pick one of the equations. You are going to be getting the same answer. So let me just pick the first one. So in this case, I pick 1,350,000, 1,350,000, which should be equal to our A, which we don't know, plus 480 times 2675, right? So in this case, I just need to multiply my answer in my calculator by 480, and I'm going to be getting plus 1284, which is A, is equal to 1350,000. So what is my A? I just need to take this on the other side. So my A should be equal to 1350,000, which should be, 1350,000 minus 1284,000. So 1350,000 minus answer should be my A be around 66,000. 66,000. I know that you are writing 66,000. Now from that end, remember the examiner might be asking you, using the least square method, formulate an equation, right? Formulate an equation using the ILO method, for example. So in this aspect, I say y is equals to 66,000, which is your total fixed cost, plus 2675x. This is your variable cost per unit. This is the equation. That is the equation needed. That is the equation needed. That is the equation required. So this equation of viewers will be assisting the organization in decision-making criteria. How is it going to assist? It is very simple. If, for example, I have, like, what is the required in the Roman 2? The Roman 2 is asking us, let me just go there. Roman 2 is asking us, determine the total costs if the 1050 machine hours were applied. So in this case, it means, if, for example, I have this equation, I can be able to predict my total costs. So like, for example, if it was part 2 and I have already formulated this formula, I just say y is equal to 66,000 plus 2675, then the value of x, which the examiner is asking, which is around 1050, right? Then I can be able to generate or formulate my total costs. So in this case, I just need to put all the data in my calculator, right? So in this case should be 2874, 750. 2874, 750. 2074, 700. That is how you normally use the ILO method. ILO method. Have you understood, Mary?
Yes.
Have you understood?
Yes, I've understood.
I know that you have copied the work. Is it okay? Every time I'm going to be tutoring this semester also, you need to be writing down. The more you write down, the more you are going to be understanding more. I'm giving you, that is why I'm going so slow, to make sure that you are understanding and you are writing, because this is just a class like any other. Now, let us continue. If you are writing, let me not rub the other side. Now, the second method, and which is the requirement of the question, the examiner was asking you to formulate a least square. Right? A least square method. I think that is what the examiner already asked you. Because already the requirement of the question is estimate the total cost function use the ordinary least square method. So let us do that. So we said to get our we normally formulate in form of y is equals to a plus bx. But we said to get my b, I need to take n, the summation of xy, minus summation of x, summation of y. We divide it by n, the summation of x squared, minus the summation of x, you put in bracket squared. Yes. Then to get for a should be equal to summation of y. Summation of y minus b, the summation of x. You divide it by n. You divide it by n. So when you look on the requirements here, what are the requirements? The examiner needs us to get the summation of, for example, we need to get the summation of xy here, which should be a column of its own. Then the summation of x, I can be able to get it here straight. The summation of y, that is why I requested you to have your calculator. Each person is going to be participating. This summation, we have it here, but this one we don't have. So it means I have to create another column for the summation of x squared. The summation of x squared should be looking like what? So in this scenario, the summation of x squared should be having a column of its own there. But I'm not going to be teaching you to do multiplication of these big figures here. At the end of the day, you will cause an error because you normally say a man is two errors. So in this case, I'm not going to be passing that route. So let me just give you the shortest point of doing these questions of the least square method. You will take your calculator and you see somewhere written mod. Once you press that mod, there are three things that will be which are going to be coming there. You're going to be pressing regression, then linear, right? So it can be a son, I'll be able to show you how. So in this case, when I press my mod here in my calculator is here, and my mod is the second after when I put the calculator on this one now. So in this case, once I press mod, my calculator displays three things here. It displays comp, SD, and reg, which is already under Roman number 3. So I press 3, then linear, then we have log and exp. So in this case, we are interested with log, right? I press 1 from my keyboard. And your calculator will be able to display on the top of your mirror or on the top of your screen, reg, on the top of your calculator reg. Have you done that, Joy?
My calculator is different, so I don't have that.
Okay, you can just press mod. What does it display?
It has comp, stat, and table.
It has comp,
stat, and table.
You're using side diff. When you press comp from your screen, from your keyboard.
When I press comp, but nothing happens, it just disappears. It goes back to normal.
I will prefer you use FX82. FX82. It will be assisting you to understand this, because already you are going to be hanging when I'm teaching this question. For example, because I just want to key in this data, after your calculator displays the regression on the top. So I want to key this data on my calculator. How am I going to be keying? I know that Mary will not be able to identify some items. For example, we have 400, comma. You see your comma in your calculator? Do you see comma somewhere, Mary? Is Mary here? Let me see. Hi, Mary. So you normally take 400, comma, you put it in your calculator. It is there above the delete button, the red one, which above there, or next to the brackets, you'll be able to find your comma there, right? Then you put the second data, which is 960,000, right? So I put here 960,000. Then I press M plus. I press M plus from my calculator, and my calculator is M plus. You'll see this button. This button is existing, M plus. And your calculator will be able to display N is equals to 1. And I continue feeding my calculator with all this data. The second one will be 240, 880,000 M plus. My calculator displays N is equals to 2. The second one is 80, 280,000, right? 280,000. My calculator displays N is equal to 3. The third one will be 400, 1.2 million, right? M plus. Then the other one with 320, 800,000, right? M plus. The other one is 240, 640,000, M plus. N should be equal to 6. The other one will be 160. Now we are following 560 M plus. N is equal to 7. 480, 1350,000 M plus. Your calculator displays N is equals to 8. 320, 660,000 M plus. Your calculator displays N is equals to 9. Then we have 160, 440,000. Your calculator displays N is equals to 10. I know, Mary, now we are together, right?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. I know that you are able to key in that data up to N is equals to 10. Are we together to that point?
Yes.
So after reaching N is equals to 10, it means even if I count this data of mine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have already keyed in every data. That is what it means. Now, from that aspect, then it means even if I switch this calculator of mine and go home, if I was in school and I go home, then this calculator will still have that data unless I erase it. It has programmed that data. So what should I do now to get these answers here? Right? I just need to get these answers here. How am I supposed to be getting them? So those answers, you can be able to get it by taking your calculator and pressing, right? I just want to press Shift. You see here, my last button on far left, that is where my shift is. Then I press button 1. My calculator will display x squared summation of x2 and n. Let us start with 1. So I will press button 1 again and equal sign. And the summation for my x squared, I will put 928 here. Okay, someone might not have understood. I have said, if I want these answers here, I will always be repeating and getting shift 1. Shift 1 and I scroll. So I have said that once I press shift and 1, the first one which is up under the letter 1, it is summation of x squared. When I press that key 1 and equal sign, I'll get 928,000. Correct? So let me repeat the same process to see whether I can be able to get the other three. So shift 1, the second one, which is the summation of x, which is 2, equals 2. Here should be 2800. There should be 2800. 2800. Right? That is 2800. The third one, once I repeat again, shift 1, and then I scroll. You see here, you have a scroll button. So I can scroll and I look whether I can find the other two. So let me scroll here using this side, the right button here. Right, you can see here. So I press it. What I'll be able to get is the summation of y squared. I don't need it, but I need the summation of y, which is under letter 2, equal to 70,000. I just copied there. Then the third and the last one, I just repeat the same, shift 1, and then I scroll. The last under the letter 3 is 2526, 400,000. 400,000. 400,000. This is how you are supposed to be doing it. But the examiner discourages you to do this. Why? Because if you feel you leave this unfilled, then you're not going to be getting all the marks. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed just, even if I continue now getting my question, because I'm going to be using the formulas, I will continue doing my question until I get the value of B and A, get the equation, and then I solve part B. And then I continue with other questions in my question paper. The time I will finish, na niambiwa ni zile 5 minutes, I can fit my data here. I can put my data here, right? But always, because I normally encourage my students to have a lot of speed when they are doing their exam, I also encourage you to have the same speed. Do the exam with a lot of speed so that you can have enough time to finalize tule tuswaliacha tukiwa unhanging kama mtu. So for example, to get my B here, you know very well that we got our N as 10. So I just say 10 times the summation of XY, which should be 2526, 400,000, right? Minus the summation of X, 2800, times the summation of Y, which is 7770. You divide it by 10 times, right? The summation of X squared. Your summation of X squared should be 928,000. Minus, right? The summation of X, which is 2800 squared. So how much are we getting here for B? And I say, to get the solution for this, don't waste your time multiplying all this. You'll waste a lot of time. What do you need to do? Press your shift 2. Shift 2, and then you scroll using the scrolling button until you get the value, the B. What am I saying? Shift 2, you'll be getting the standard deviation of X. Standard deviation of X, we have means. Once you scroll, you'll be having the mean of Y, standard deviation of Y. And then the last values which should be coming in your calculator, once you scroll using this scrolling button, should be ABR, right? So we start with B because it's the one that we're looking at, which is under letter B, right? Under letter 2, sorry. We are getting around 2436. You see, I'm not struggling. 2436 per unit. I don't know if we are dealing with units or machine hours, right? So from there, because that is your B now, correct? Because that is your B, then you ask yourself, what about our A? And I will say, to get our A, we said you take the summation of Y, which is 7770. 7770 minus B, which is 2436, times the summation of X, which is 2800. We divide it by, what are we dividing it with? With our N, which is 10. I don't need also to struggle getting that solution. What am I supposed to be doing? I'm supposed now to be following the same procedure. Shift 2, I scroll on my calculator, I see whether I can get that value. So let us try that. Shift 2 now. Shift 2. You scroll out to the end where we are going to be getting our B under letter 2. And Shift 2, I scroll up to where I get 1, which is our Roman A. Then equal sign, I'm supposed to be getting 94,889. 94,889. Are we together to that point?
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Yes.
I mean, one. Have you understood the process?
Yeah.
So once you finish doing all these and getting the values, you know very well that the two values are your constants. You know these are constants. I just want to make it easy. It should not be the hardest process, because doing your multiplications here, you might be causing an errors, therefore failing the whole process. So in this case, now to get to a y here, we are going to be taking the value of A, 94,889 plus 24,36. 24,36x, right? Then when you go to the requirement part 2, remember the examiner was asking you to calculate the total cost here, right? The total maintenance cost. And to get it to, you just need to say your y should be equal to 94,889 plus 24,36 times now the 1050 given in the question. The 1050. The 1050 given here, right? So what will be the value of y? So you just need to do your summations here. It will be 2436 times 1050 plus 94,889. What I'm getting here, I'm getting Kenya shillings, 2652, 689. 689. That is how you're supposed to be solving this kind of question. I just want to do the second illustrations before we do the account analysis method. So allow me to do so. So we can go to April 2022. There is a question somewhere. April 2022, there is a question there. April 2022. April 2022. So let us first go there. So you'll be given a question which looks like this. Question 1 should be question 1 CS. You'll be given a question like this. Mary, can you read for us, please?
Jambo Limited manufactures bracelets for export trade. The sales revenue is dependent on the level of advertising expenditure per month. The company has recorded the following sales information for the past 6 months. The following has been calculated. Estimate fixed and variable elements of the sales revenue using the least square regression analysis method.
So you're being told to estimate the fixed and variable elements. That is A and B. And when you look on that question, that's already been done, part of it. So it means examiner has already given me an easy way to do this question. But the problem is, which is my X and which is my Y? I just want Joy to try. Which one is my X? Which one is my Y? Between the advertising expenditure and sales revenue.
Sales revenue is Y and advertising X.
Very good. The sales revenue, even when you use it, it basically borrows the concept of common sense, because the more you advertise, the more the sales revenue you're going to be making. So it means the total cost which I'm going to be incurring, the more I advertise, right? The more I advertise, the more the sales revenue, the more the sales revenue.
Yeah.
So in this case, it means that I'm not going to be having a table, but the most important aspect is to use the formulas for the least square method. So this is how you are going to be cutting a shortcut here. I'll look at a shortcut in this question. So a shortcut would be, examiners asked you to use the least square. The least square regression. Right? The least square method. Now, in this aspect, it means we normally formulate our equation in form of y is equals to a plus b. Correct? So you say, to get my b, I normally take n, the summation of xy, minus summation of x, summation of y. You divide it by n, the summation of x squared minus the summation of x in bracket squared. Then to get your a, you normally take the summation of y minus b, the summation of x. Then you divide it by n. So the biggest question will be, how am I going to be cutting it short and I don't have a table to get all this? I'll tell you that the examiner has done it for you. When I look on the question, I will find that we have the advertising expenditure summation of x. You know that is the summation of y. Advertising, sales revenue, you know that is the summation of x. We have advertising expenditure times the sales revenue. And in that case, I'm supposed to be saying, get my b, because the values, our n is defined based on the number of months. We have 6. We multiply it by the summation of expenditure and sales revenue. We have 447, 250,000 minus, right? The summation of x, summation of y. We said our summation of x is 192,000. We multiply by the summation of y, which should be 13.5. You divide it by 6. The summation of x squared. The summation of x squared. Our x, we said, is our sales revenue, is independent. That is equivalent to 63, 22, 6.3, 22. I think it should be millions of shillings. Minus the summation of x, which is 192,000. Right? Squared. That is how I'm supposed to be writing it. But sasa utaniuliza, mwalimu, uliniambia I'm supposed to be taking the shortcuts. And I will say yes. Because I can just write my x and y's here. And I put them on my calculator. So in this case, for example, we have 30,059. 30,059, right? We also have 27,000, 2,000. Correct. Then the other one will be 25,000, 1750. Correct. We have 40,000 there. And then the other side we have 3,000. Correct. Then we have another one called that is 43,000. We have 32,000. We have 2,500. 2,500. Then the last one should be 38,000. 38,000. We have 2,750. So because I want to put this data on my calculator, but back on my mind, I understand very well that we have another data which is existing on my calculator. I need to press my shift and mod. And then I press the last one. Number 3, we have been told is all 3. And then I long press the equal sign. The data which we have already erased the data which was existing on my calculator. Then I repeat the same process. I said you take the mods, regression, linear. That is what I said. So let me press my mods, regression, which is number 3, then number 1, which is my linear. So allow me to have a bit of speed. Now, the first one will be, I just need to take 30,000. So let me just write this, comma, which is existing on my calculator, 1500 M plus. So Mary, let us do this. 30,000, comma, 1500 M plus. The second one will be 27,000, comma, 2,000 M plus. The other one will be 25,000, comma, 1750 M plus. The other one is 40,000, comma, 3,000 M plus. 32,000, comma, 2,500 M plus. The other one is 38,000, comma, 2,750 M plus. So already we know our data is 6, and that is what we have seen here. But because we don't need any summations, because the examiner does not require this working, this is just for you. Even as Andika for rough work, so that you can just be able to put that data. Examiner just need to get you B and Y, B and A, sorry. So in this, to get our B, we say, let us press Shift 2, and then we scroll using the scrolling button. So our Shift 2, right, and then I scroll here. So I scroll, I get B is on number 2, then equal sign, you'll be able to get, our B is 0.09. 0.09, if you have done it well. Then to get to our A should be equal to the summation of Y. Our Y is 13,500, right? Minus 0.09 times, it should be around 192,000. We divide by 10. I don't need to do all this in my calculator. I just need to say Shift 2, and then I scroll here. 1, which is under letter 1, which is under number 1, equal to negative 492. Negative 492. So your Y should be equal to what? Should be equal to negative 492 plus 0.09x. 0.09x. Now, after you formulate this is the linear function which the examiner might require. But in this case, you remember, examiner was expecting you to formulate the 2. Your 6 marks exits in exit here. These are the 6 marks. Just doing all this up to here. Because we have been taught to estimate the fixed and variable elements, right? Of the sales revenue using the least square. And that is what you have already done up to that point. But eventually, hata ukimwandikia he becomes a bonus to you. Becomes a bonus to you. Let me go back to you and I ask you a question. Is it possible for you guys now, can you be able to handle any assignment given? Can you be able to handle the assignments using the first 2 methods?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, I want us to go to I just want us to engage on the 3rd method. I just want to look on the 3rd one. And the 3rd method, we said we are going to be using the 3rd method for the cost estimation should be account analysis. It should be the account analysis. It should be the account analysis. Accounts analysis is our 3rd method of cost estimation. 3rd method of cost estimation. Now, when you're looking on the accounts analysis, we said it is just a method of cost estimation in which the cost ledgers are used to develop a linear function, right? We say is a method of cost estimation where cost ledgers are used to form linear equation. The cost ledgers are used to form the linear equation. So in this case, we normally say the total costs are normally broken down. The total costs are normally broken down into fixed and variable loads. Are normally broken down into fixed and variable components. That is the most important aspect. Components, the fixed and variable components, right? So in this case, it means also, regardless of the method used, the method which I'm going to be using, I will be able to formulate the equation, my equation in form of y is equals to a plus bx. But the tricky of the account analysis will always be, because you are using the cost ledgers, and what you're going to be getting under the cost ledgers will be the total variable cost. But our B is the variable cost per unit. Right? What am I going to be doing to solve that problem? Let us look on an illustration here. May 2017. May 2017, question number 1C. May 2017, question 1C. Can you be able to go there and we see whether you can be able to get any question we can solve? Let's go there. A minute. So we are going to 2017. May 2017. Correct. Management accounting. So Jay, you are reading for us question 1C.
Okay. Baraka Limited manufactures a single product which is meant for the local market only. The monthly demand for the product varies from 1 month to the other. During the month of April 2017, 500 units were produced, incurring the following expenses: direct materials, direct labor, rent fixed, electricity 30% fixed, property taxes and rates, which is 70% variable, and technical support fixed, giving a total of 285,000. Required using the account analysis method, formulate a predictor equation in the form y is equals to a plus bx. Number 2, Baraka Limited intends to produce 700 units during the month of June 2017. Estimate the cost to be incurred.
Thank you so much. And you can see examiner here is wishing you all the best. So already we have to be identifying the items which are variable in nature. One is the materials, labor, unless otherwise stated. And then we are being given that, like, for example, electricity is part of it, is fixed and variables. So it means we are going to be using the cost ledger to solve this problem. Let us go to our board and we see how we can be able to do so. Let's go there. So in this case, I don't want to fear anything. I just need to write my formula, and then I write the fixed and variable here. And I will be asking myself the following questions, right? The first one should be, is my direct material, if it is not stated, is it a variable or fixed component? And I say the direct material is a variable unless otherwise stated. So that figure lies on the variable side, amounting to 70,000. Correct. Then we have direct labor. Direct labor, we have 60,000. 60,000. We have rent. Rent, even the examiner has told you, is fixed. So our rent is 35,000. Correct. Then we have something called electricity. Electricity examiner said, right, 30% is fixed. The other one is variable. So if 30, 70 is variable. So what am I supposed to do? I just need to take my calculator, say 0.3 times 25,000 is fixed. So it's 7,500 fixed. So the other amount is variable, amounted to minus 25,000 and 17,500 should be variable. 17,500 is variable. Property taxes. Property taxes, we have 70% variable, 0.7 times 60,000, translating to around 42,000. 42,000. Then the balance, which is 18,000, should be fixed. You can see how I'm doing it. Then the last one, which is the technical support. It's very simple. Technical support of yours is how much? Technical support, we have been told that 5,000 is fixed. What is the total here? So the first one would be that 5,000 for the fixed plus 7,500 plus 18,000 plus that 5,000. What am I getting? 95,500. That is what I'm getting the total fixed cost. What about the variable costs? 70,000 plus 60,000 plus 17,500 plus 42,000. I'm supposed to be getting around 189. And I said some students may work up to this point, but they fail to get the whole of the question. Why? Because they forget about, we don't expect you to have the total variable cost. What we need under our equation should be the variable cost per unit. So how am I going to be getting it? On the first sentence of the question, we are being told that Baraka Limited manufactures a single product which is meant for the local market only. The monthly demand of the product varies from 1 month to the other. During the month of April 2017, 500 units were produced. So in this case, I can say, get my B, I'm going to be taking the total variable costs, which is 189,500. We divide by the number of units produced, 500. How much is this? Divide by 500. I'm getting around 379 per unit. So when I'm formulating my equation, I will say my y is equals to, we know very well that our A is the total variable cost, which is 95,500 plus 379 what? 379x, 379x, 379x. So that is how you formulate using the accounts analysis method. When I look on requirement number 2, right, I'm being told that Baraka Limited intends to produce 700 units during the month of June 2017. Estimate the total cost incurred. I'm going to be using this equation, and very well I understand that the examiner has already given me my x. He's asking me, what is the total cost here? So in this case, I just need to take this equation and I say, let me take 95,500 plus 379 times 379 times 700. So how much is this? How much is this? So 379 times 700 plus 95,500. We get in Kenya shillings 360, 800. 360, 800. 360, 800. 360, 800. 360,800, 360,800. I know that we have understood, and I will just be able to give you one assignment for the account analysis. You're going to do for me November 2020. November 2020, it should be question number what? November 2020, during our COVID time, examiner tried to challenge us here. Question number 1B, question 1B. November 2020, question number 1B. And I can speculate that there is another one for 2021. Let me check whether it is in existence. So let me just close my video so that I can give out the assignments, which you should be writing down. So let me stop my video to that point. And thank you for listening.